What you're hearing there, apart from the guitar, is an iPad playing a jazz trio, essentially. Now, what we've got here is a very nifty app. This is called Genius Jamtracks, and it really is the genius thing. It does live up to that title. Now, what we have here, which sets it apart from lots and lots of other things, including backing tracks that you program at home or anything like that, is that it never plays the same thing twice. You can randomize things, which is great for improvising because it means you're listening to that trio. It's like you're bouncing off a real trio and you kind of go with what they decide to do on a rhythmic or harmonic basis, and it's really important. Now, the number of things you can do with this is limitless, so I'm just going to cover the main things, because when you get this app and start playing with it, really does ramp up what you can do. Now, the tempo at the moment, 149. If you change the tempo significantly, it actually changes what the app does. It reflects what a trio would do if they're playing, fast, like 225. Let's see what happens with this. So it's a bit more relaxed. I know it's faster, but there's less going on in terms of pushes. If I was to ramp the tempo right down to make a sort of proper, slow blues type thing, let's see what happens with that. It'll do something different. It's musical completely at whatever tempo you want. Now, the two sliders that you can see on your screen, we got rhythm and harmony. What do they do then? Well, the more you slide to the right, the more random it will get and the more complicated it will get. So if I really ramp up the harmony, for example, I'll just, on the mixer pane here, turn the piano up slightly. There we go, just turn it up. And you will hear that the piano does rather more than just the chords. So you get lots more inversions and lots more voicings. I'll just speed that tempo up a bit so we don't have to wait 10 minutes for it to sort of begin to do its thing. But essentially what you've got here is, I'll just go back to the slider. Sometimes there we go. So now the harmony is ramped right up. There's a little head symbol on the bottom left which says play the first chorus as the head, because actually if you want to play this tune, you wouldn't want so much going on in the background, and then you can let it loose in the sort of second chorus, as it were. You've got the number of times here, which can be varied anything up to 32 times. I mean, it's a full-on version. You can change the key to any key you like, and you get something else called quick setup. We're going to have a look at that in a second. Now, rhythm, if I just slide this across as well, maybe I'll slide the harmony back a bit. If you have the harmony right the way to the left, you get mainly just triads or just the more basic voicings. So let's ramp the rhythm up and see what it does. This is good for your listening, and it will make you solo differently. there's masses going on. Now, this is where we go into the quick setup page, which allows you to do things like groupings and ratios and all of that thing. So ratios, you get this sort of cross rhythm type things, and you can see there's loads and loads of different, different things you can do. Let's try 5 to 7, for example. I'm going to make the harmony a bit more complicated because it sounded a little bit staid just then. Maybe you'd want that if it was a simple blues and you wanted to sort of blow some sort of licks over it. You wouldn't want all that other stuff happening. So you can do anything you like with this. So let's just see what happens with this. That's just mad, the sort of stuff. Now, a jazz trio is going to do these sort of things where they pull the beat about and pull the rhythm about and do things like that. And actually, it's really important because if you're improvising over something, you don't want to ding, ding, da, ding, ding, da, ding, ding, da, ding all the way through. You want a bit of, a challenge. So you can do things like groupings where you can say, well, let's take an eighth note, a quaver in groups of 11. You can have anything up to 17. Well, let's see what happens with that. If I turn the ratio back down and just make sure and you get the piano and drums. At the moment, the bass isn't following that. You can if you just press that button to turn it orange. Let's try again with those sort of groupings in, eighth notes in groups of 11. Let's see what happens with that. And it will do random things. It doesn't do the same thing every time. So it's a really good exercise. Perhaps if you're out on a gig, you want to make it a little bit more straight ahead. Perhaps if it's, somewhere for dinner or whatever. But when you're at home and you're practicing, having all these sliders and just trying out these different things doesn't have to make you play differently. And that's the point of this. Genius Jamtracks. It's exactly me. It means what it says. Now, we've got a thing called Other, which allows you to do things like, anticipation or double time or even half time. Double time. See what happens with that. Yes, just something else. So the combinations here are basically endless. All of this costs you the princely sum of 11 of your British pounds, or maybe 12 or 13 euros, same in dollars. It's nothing for what you get. Now, there are going to be updates. I was given a free copy of this app and I said, I'll do a video of that because it's amazing. I just downloaded it and thought, this is absolutely awesome. So the updates will be that you can say that any of these tunes can be played in other styles, and also things like different time signatures, and you can put your own tunes in, you can do all of that sort of stuff. So when those come, this really is basically unbeatable. Well, it's unbeatable anyway, but with those updates, it's just even more so. So if you go back to, I don't know, let's try The Girl from Ipanema, for example. It will have put this as a bossa nova by, automatically, because that's what it usually is. You can do the same thing with this. I mean, the bossa rhythm is really nice. It's just natural. etc. And you have things like, well, there are different grooves. You get sort of even ballads, you can get even this, you can get open swing. I think Autumn Leaves on here is an open swing tune, and that's really nice because it's disjointed enough that you've really got to listen to it. I think it's open swing. No, something else is. I think Beautiful Love was, actually. Let's have a look. Open swing. Have a listen to this. So much going on, and the sounds are incredibly realistic. I mean, those drum sounds are absolutely awesome, and you can make the drummer be more complicated than the bass player, or the bass player can do much more complicated things, because when you go into quick setup, you can say, okay, well, I'm not going to have the complexity with the drums, but I'm going to have it on bass, maybe not on the piano, for example. So we could try something like that. It'll do something different for the bass end now. It makes you play differently, whatever instrument you play. So there we are, Genius Jamtracks. It really is just something else. And I haven't even touched the surface with the groupings and the ratios that you can do, but this really, really does raise the game of anybody who is wanting to improvise more and practice more sort of rhythmic things, pushes, scales, riffs, all of that sort of thing. It's natural and it's really good.